Hello everyone, I'm delighted to introduce you with Aditya Acharya.
Sir, I am happy, I am elated, and more than that, I am happy seeing my friends, my relatives, and especially mentors like you being proud of me and happy at the same time. I think that is more satisfying to me.
Hello Aditya.
Hello, sir. Thank you very much.
First of all, congratulations for achieving 96 rank in this examination.
Thank you, sir.
Tell me, what worked for you? What were the factors that you think worked in your case or brought success in your case?
Sir, I think a couple of things. One being consistency. I have been consistent even after 2 failures at prelims. Learning from the mistakes would be second. Getting back to drawing board and charting out the mistakes that I committed in the previous attempts, learning from them and sticking to the basics. And at the same time, a lot of revisions, multiple round of revisions, test series, simulators. I think these are the couple of things that have worked for me.
Okay. And how did you choose PSIR optional? So how, because I know that you have not been having the background also in PSIR.
Yes, sir.
You had background in economics. So why PSIR optional, Aditya?
Sir, I have done economics honors as my bachelor's. So definitely at very early stages, I came to realize that I may not be very comfortable with economics. Since the mathematical portion as well as the econometrics portion that was going to come in the mains optional was going to increase. So I felt that I may not be very comfortable with this economics optional. So very early on, I decided that I will have to choose some another optional. And while gazing through some other optionals, I felt PSIR is one optional that both interests me, and at the same time, it will be having a lot of overlapping themes with the mains examination, the GS1, GS2 and GS4. So I felt that PSIR would suit both my interest as well as my instrumentality in this examination. So that's why I chose a PSIR optional.
So basically, because firstly you had some interest in the syllabus or in some parts of the syllabus, but at that time you were not aware about the theories and all. Generally, I have seen that IR component is something that is attractive, but IR comes at the last. So the syllabus starts with theories.
Yes.
And non-backgrounders are not able to identify themselves with that part. So again, if it is interest, so IR was the only component there that you were attracted to. What about other parts? Can I say that it was mainly because of instrumentality, or it was having some resemblance with other parts of the whole scheme of the examination?
Sir, I would say that the very important thing is interest here. Since the optional, the syllabus is very large, so we need to develop and we need to have some amount of interest in all of the portions of the syllabus. But at the same time, I was confident that once I take an optional, I will do well in it. And I am like very relieved to say this, that your foundation course has really helped me. It generated interest in even those portions in which I was initially not very much comfortable and interested. So this helped me a lot.
So generally I start my class in foundation class, and generally I started with this quotation, which seemed to be exaggeration to the first timers, that I make this statement there that only a political scientist understands the word in true sense. Okay, and in that first class, many students actually find it exaggeration. What do you think, Aditya, regarding this political science optional subject, and then completing the whole foundation program and then succeeding in this examination? If you are able to recall that statement that I made in the first class itself, that only a political scientist can understand the word in true sense, or he needs to go through those theories, what the theories of a state, or democracy, or justice. Okay, then you have the international relations, theories to understand international relations. Is the statement that only a political scientist understands the word in true sense, or one needs to become political scientist to do that, an exaggeration?
Sir, I would not say it is an exaggeration. It is very true to a great extent. Even in the study that I have done in the foundation course, we see a statement quite often that political science is the master science. So that relates to what you are saying here, that one needs to be a decent amount of political scientists to understand this world in its entirety.
By being political scientist, I mean that being acquainted with the theories of political science, you find articles in the Hindu, Indian Express. Do you feel that after studying political science, they become more comprehensible to you?
Yes, sir. To a great extent, it is true that the world becomes very much easy to understand when you are very well versed with the very basic concepts of political science. And even if we talk about this exam, they do help to a great extent in the other mains examinations like GS2 and GS4. It becomes relatively easier.
Okay. And how did you prepare this optional subject? What was your strategy? So starting from step 1, what are the things that worked in your case in preparing this optional subject?
Sir, it was like very basic that since I was a part of your foundation program, so I never had this hassle of going to multiple sources or multiple places to find the content that I need to understand this subject at a very fundamental level. So just by being enrolled in your program, a lot of my problems were reduced to a great extent. Now, when coming to the preparation of this subject, I think it is very important to have a very basic and at the same time to a great extent nuanced understanding of almost all of the topics that come in the PSIR optional. And then multiple rounds of revision once you are well versed with the concepts of this optional, and writing test, making your own short notes, learning from the mistakes that you are committing in the tests. I think these are some of the very basic fundamental steps that are required to ace this optional subject.
Okay. Generally, a candidate gets confused that you can say the market is replete with so many materials and you have so many Telegram channels, YouTube channels. What one should see in the foundation program and PSIR foundation program आपको स्पेशली कैसे यूजफुल रहा, मतलब कि आप उससे डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट्स डिराइव कर पाए? Were you able to derive direct benefits from that course?
Sir, one thing is that whenever we are selecting a very important course that will be very fundamental in our journey to success, is that we should look for the comprehensiveness of that course. And at the same time, if that comprehensiveness is matched with depth in the concepts of those subjects, it would be very good that that foundation course is apt for us. And I have been lucky enough that your foundation course provides both comprehensiveness and at the same time the depth that is required to gain marks in the examination. As far as some of the materials or some of the content that is available in market, I think when it comes to the width, a lot of materials checkbox that criteria, but at the same time when it comes to depth, a lot of these materials, they are lacking that depth that is required to score good marks in PSIR optional.
And what about this optional foundation program? One thing that I find quite important is answer writing. Okay, joining the test series is another thing, but in the optional program itself, foundation program itself, it should be designed in a manner whereby you get a lot of things to write. So a lot of stress needs to be put on answer writing. So was that helpful?
Sir, I think when it comes to answer writing, this foundation program has done well for me. I am a sitting example where I was not only a part of ATS and AWFG, but even some other answer writing schemes that you provided in the class itself, where we used to discuss some of the questions that you gave in the class itself on the spot, and you made us write those answers, and we discussed promptly the mistakes that we are committing in those answers. So it was like really helpful when it comes to answer writing practice, your foundation program.
Okay, but there are very good books also, Aditya. So other than the foundation class material, what you think that candidates should be referring to? Because generally what I advise in my class is that they should be focusing exclusively on the content that has been given to them, and they should keep a tab on current affairs. So what is your opinion with respect to this suggestion or advice that is given to the students?
Sir, my suggestion to the upcoming aspirants would be very simple. That one, if you are curious to know about say IR or political science, you can go ahead and research on your own. Some of the websites that come to my mind right now are ICWA, IDSA. These websites are really helpful, and some of the very good material is definitely available on them that can be used in this examination. But at the same time, we need to be cognizant of this fact that at the end of the day, we are not here to complete a PhD in PSIR. We are here to ace this examination. We are here to score good in optional that will ease our journey to secure a good rank. So the sole aim should be that one, we should complete the foundation notes that the foundation batch is providing, and complete our daily targets when it comes to answer writing or answer writing practice, completing the test series. PhD can be done, I guess, once we come into services.
And how did you strategize your answer writing practice, Adit? What was your strategy? I'm being specific to PSIR optional.
Sir, at the very outset, this needs to be understood that initially we will have a great amount of inertia when it comes to answer writing, because reading some notes or reading some material is relatively easier, but producing them in the answers format is a difficult task. My primary approach was answer writing practice through test only. I was not that consistent enough that I write daily 2 or 3 answers, especially when it comes to optional. I have done to a great extent this in GS, but in optional I could not do that. I'm very honestly accepting this. And this gap and this void was filled by the test series that ForumIAS has provided. So I was a part of both ATS, that is Advanced Test Series, and Answer Writing Focus Group. And my primary practice markers were these 2 test series only when it comes to answer writing. Sir, these were helpful to a great extent in one, that I write good content. 2, I complete paper on time. And 3, even if I have missed some test, I made sure this point that I go and read the model answers that are provided by the coaching institute. So when it comes to ATS and AWFG, the fundamental difference is this, that the model answers that are provided in ATS, they are a notch higher level. But AWFG, it primarily follows the mains pattern. But at the same time, I felt in my preparation that had I done ATS in a much more religious manner, I would have got a better rank. So these two are though different, but if we integrate these 2 test series, their model answers, our learnings from these 2 different verticals of test, I think one will be comprehensively prepared to at least be prepared for this optional PSIR optional.
Okay. And what about doing previous year questions, PYQs in PSIR optional? So did you do it separately, or it was covered in your answer writing program?
Sir, initially I tried to do it separately, but I lost consistency with this, because I may write answers, but there is no one to check those answers, no one to give me inputs on those answers that I am writing. So I think AWFG comes to rescue at this point of time. AWFG primarily follows this pattern of PYQs only. So it was really helpful to me as I wrote answers, they were promptly checked, and I got reviews. And at the same time, they provided some really good model answers. So I think whether you give a test or not, it is very necessary that you analyze those tests once you have given those tests. And analysis starts with reading model answers, because from there on, you not only learn from your mistakes, but you also get some new content that you may not have written in your own answers, that may not have been there in your notes. So model answers fill those gaps. So reading model answers, analyzing your own test, they are very important.
Okay. And to what extent this answer writing practice in PSIR through ATS, OAWFG, and the PSIR Foundation program was helpful in GS, Adit? Because you told in the starting itself that one important decision that was made in this regard while choosing the optional was its similarity with GS optional. So PSIR Foundation program, then ATS, then OAWFG, to what extent this prepared you for the sections in GS?
Sir, since PSIR is a very wide optional in its own self, and we get to learn a lot of those concepts and those things that may appear in, especially in GS2 and GS4. So to a great extent, these things help me. The model answers that I used to read, I may have voluntarily or involuntarily definitely used those knowledge, those pointers when it comes to GS answers. So it helps to a great extent, but at the same time, we need to be cognizant of the fact that a lot of effort needs to be put in when you are reading those model answers. And at the same time, some extent, there needs to be distinction made when you are writing a GS answer and when you are writing an optional answer. Optional answers requires you to be a specialist in that domain. You need to quote some scholars. You need to present to the examiner that you know that particular thing in very depth. But when it's come to GS, answer writing in GS, those concepts, those knowledge, those pointers can be used at a surface level that will only be the icing on the cake. So I think in this manner, the overlapping things that are there in PSIR optional and GS, it may help to a great extent.
Okay, Adit. So if I ask you that, generally I suggest candidates that if they choose PSIR optional, this will be helpful in essay and interview stage also. So was there any help of any kind because you opted for PSIR optional, or it was an extra burden for you to prepare IR or to go for studying Indian politics or revise Indian constitution?
Sir, I don't think so. If your choice of optional is guided by interest, it would ever feel a burden to you. It never felt to me burden, especially the IR part. In political science, I sometimes felt that why I am reading this. But then at the same time, you need to understand that you have to read those things because you need to ace this examination. That is the end goal of it. So I always kept in mind that whether I have interest or not, I am reading that thing to ace this examination. As far as its relativity in essay and interview is concerned, I think in essay to a great extent it helps. But in my case, my interview was such that none of IR questions, none of pol science questions were asked. So, but definitely I have asked my peers who appeared in the interview at earlier stage and with me also. They always say that a command over optional always helps in interview. Okay. If you have a good command over optional, definitely board will take you at some stage or other to your optional, ask you very pinpointed specific questions on it, and they will see to it that whether you have just a superficial knowledge of those concepts or you indeed know those things. So a command over optional always helps, I would say.
Okay. Now, what is your message to those candidates who opt for PSIR optional, how they should prepare, and then what will bring success to them? Can you share some general message to them?
Sir, my message to upcoming aspirants would be very simple. That one, stick to basics, complete the basics, reread the things as Derrida says, and at the same time, revision is very important since the syllabus of PSIR optional is a bit large. So you need to keep tab of those things that you are reading only those material, especially in the later stages of your preparation after prelims, which you can revise. Because if we make our material that we have to read unlimited, then we would not be able to revise it. And if we are not able to revise it, we would not be able to reproduce it in the answers. So it is very important that we revise things. And once the basic study of the text, basic study of the foundational notes is done, you should very promptly shift to answer writing practice. And as I told earlier, that answer writing stage is twofold. One, you start with the very basic questions, you start with the very basic answers. You try to overcome the inertia that is, initial inertia that is there when it comes to answer writing. And then you learn from the copies of the topper and you try to imbibe the learnings, you try to imbibe the way they are structuring their answers, and it will definitely fetch you good marks. If you do these 2-3 steps, if you follow these very basic guidelines that are there.
Okay. Thank you, Adit. Thanks for this message.